Hello, humans! Refuting arguments for abortion, one bad argument at a time, part 5. So, there's this woman.
Let me make one thing very clear. Abortion has never, not once, killed a single child.
Well, her argument is that ending the growth process of a fetus will not kill a child because a fetus is not a child. Okay, well, and then we have this human who, as you can see, makes two arguments. A baby developing is not yet a human life, and two, the termination of the developing human is a good thing. Well, essentially, both of these humans present the non-personhood argument. So this argument states that the thing in the woman's womb is not yet a person. Many argue that it is a human organism, a biological concept, but not a human person, psychological, philosophical concept. But the problem with this is that no person of integrity within the scientific community debates that the human organism comes into existence at the moment of conception. However, many pro-abortion advocates claim that, it is merely a lump of mass or tissue and not yet a human person because, the duty to do no harm refers only to persons and one can have an abortion without any violation against a human person at that point. But is this true? The very definition of abortion admits to life and admits to murder of said life. To abort means to fail, to cease, or to stop at an earlier premature stage, to terminate a procedure prematurely. Something cannot be stopped unless it has already begun. Well, what exactly began? The process of life. And if the process of a human life has already begun, then it is the natural course for the process to continue. Therefore, we should allow it to continue. Now, some pseudoscience studies claim that the life inside of a pregnant woman is not actually a person until a certain amount of time has passed, and the fetus has had enough growth to be considered a person. However, this not only is this logically absurd, but this is hypocritical. So if scientists declare bacteria to be life, then an embryo or fetus must also be proclaimed as such, life. Instead, a person must be defined by the essentialistic definition. Now, according to this definition, a person is a living being who has the essential capacity for rational reflection, emotional expression, willful direction, and moral deliberation concerning him or herself and the world around him or her. Essential capacity means a capability that exists by nature of the kind of being the person is, whether or not such a capacity is ever actualized. All human organisms have this basic inherent capacity for personhood by nature of being human. This essential capacity for personhood comes into existence at the moment of conception. Conception is the key and the reason why women on their menstrual cycles are not immoral. Likewise, it is why an emission of semen by a male in his sleep, that's not immoral either. A sperm alone will never become a human being. A female egg alone will never become a human being. It is in conception, from the sperm and the egg combining, that begins the process of human life. Things either exist or they do not. There is no such concept of something becoming into existence. What exists may develop, but there is no such thing as something that partially exists. Development concerns functioning as a person, not being a person. As we develop, we function better as persons, but that doesn't mean that we are more of a person than we were earlier in life. Likewise, when a person is old and deteriorating, the person isn't less of a person than he or she was earlier in life, and this is why handicapped humans, they're not any less human than any other human. Likewise, if a human who has tetraamelia syndrome, born without arms, without legs, is not any less human than any other human. When a sperm and an egg become one, zygote, and conception begins, life also begins. Conception is the origin of personhood, and if an unborn becomes a person from the moment of conception, then no one can take his or her life without just cause. Such a cause would have to be one that can apply to any other person regardless of age. So, For the woman in this video who claims that a fetus is not a child, well, you're correct, because a child is a human being in an early stage of life, whereas a fetus is, well, a human being in an earlier stage of life. And by the way, did you know that the word fetus is Latin and it involves pregnancy, childbirth, and offspring? The depth beyond the surface of this word describes a little one or a young one who is growing, in growth, in production. And so your comparison of a fetus to a child is like saying a boy is not a man and a girl is not a woman. Okay, sure, but you're still referring to a human being. Now, your logic is flawed when you claim that a fetus is not a human being, because a human is a human being throughout all stages of life, regardless of where in time the stage of life exists. And to the person with the written comment, well, I refuted your argument that a baby developing is not yet a human life because, well, a human is a human being throughout all stages of life. But as for your second argument as to why termination of the developing human is a good thing, well, you would need to prove why murdering a weak and innocent human being is a good thing. But it's not. And every sane and rational person knows that murder is wrong, especially if the person being murdered is a weak and innocent person. Abortion is murdering a weak and innocent human being. Again, to abort is to terminate the process prematurely. Taking the life of an innocent person to save your own life, well, that's not only murder, but it's cowardly and it's selfish. In contrast, however, John 15:12-13 states that sacrificing yourself for the love of another is not only commendable, but there is no greater love than that.